So there you have it, guys. That was my attempt at a cinematic intro. Didn't quite hold up to the standards of Chris Ramsey and Jason Maher, but I think we got there. Let me interrupt just quickly, guys. That cinematic intro you saw at the start of the video was only part 1 of 2, so I've decided to split it in half. I'll release part 2 at the start of the next video that I release, and then later on I'll join those 2 parts together and release it as a separate clip. So if you want to see part 2, stay tuned. So since these Rebellion Rum, Salt and Bone cards come with their own little map, I thought it was good to tie in the intro and a trick and see what we can come up with putting those 2 things together. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a little out of my comfort zone considering I was using After Effects for the first time in a couple of years. So without further ado, let's take a look at the routine. Okay, so for this trick I'm going to use 3 piles, and they're going to represent a beginner magician, a novice magician, and an expert magician. So the beginner has a small pile of cards, the novice has a slightly larger pile of cards, and the expert has a very large pile of cards. I'm going to do the same trick 3 times. I'm going to do it the way a beginner would do it, the way a novice would do it, and the way an expert magician would do it. And that trick is lose the card and then find it again. So I'm going to take the first piece of the map and we're going to lose it somewhere in the small pile. Then we're going to take the next piece of the map for the novice and we're going to lose it in a slightly large pile. And then of course the expert magician, because he is an expert, he's going to lose his card in the whole deck. So the way a beginner magician would find a card is they do this move, and I'll try and get close to the camera for this. Turn the deck around and riffle up the back. Now what that does is it turns the selection face up in the face down deck. Only because they're a beginner, it doesn't quite work. It doesn't completely fail though, because they revealed the number 7. That's obviously not the piece of the map that we're after, but what it is an indicator card. So it tells us that if we go 7 cards further, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that should give us our first piece of the map. The novice magician will do the same thing. Turn the cards around, give a riffle. That turns 1 card over, and of course because they're a novice and not a beginner, it does actually reveal the selected card. In this case, a piece of the map. Now the expert magician could do the riffle move to turn the last piece face up in the deck, or they could just control it to the top, but because they understand the value of performance and building suspense, what they'll do is they'll actually cut the cards a bit, and the first card they turn over will not be the map, it will be the number 10. Because what they're going to do is count down from 10 to 1 before revealing the piece of the map. So Lionel, if you're watching this trick with your dad, you might want to help me count backwards from 10 down to 1. Ready? Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, leaving us with the last piece of the map. And that's a little trick that I call the final countdown. Hope you enjoyed it. So that was the routine, guys. I hope you liked it. It's not an original routine, however, it is a variation on something that does exist. Back in the 60s, someone named Henri Christ came up with this routine called Fabulous Ace Routine, and it was published in a book called Professional Card Magic. See, I've got my notes. And that book was published by someone called Cliff Green. Fast forward to 2020, 2019, not sure which one, but Spidey Hypnosis, a really great magician. I'll leave a link to his YouTube page below. He modernized it and took out some unnecessary handlings and really made the trick a lot better. All I did was I took Spidey's version, and instead of the last 10 cards being random, I had them count down from 10 to 1 so that we could have a countdown to that final card reveal. Hence why I've named it the Final Countdown. That's it for me for this one. As always, I'm Scotty P, and I bloody love magic.